Hey everyone, and welcome back to Afternoon Literature. So it's Cassie here, and I'm coming here today for a bit of an unedited chat as I take you through my June wrap-up. What are the books that I read and DNF'd during this month? Okay, seriously, that is going to be the last bit of editing in this video, so hopefully I will manage not to be rambly as we go through this. This month felt like an incredibly difficult reading month for me, and I feel like I really struggled, but when I'm looking at the pile of books that I did manage to get through, actually it wasn't as bad as I thought. The first book that I read this month was Elantris by Sanderson. I did start this the previous month and got like 100 pages in, but then stopped, and I pretty much reread so many pages and then carried on with it. And I came to really enjoy this in the end. So Elantris is a standalone novel by Sanderson, who is a fantastical writer who creates these really epic fantasy worlds which use the unique magic system. This one is a multi-character perspective, and the previous one I've read by Sanderson is as well, so I'm assuming that is a thing he does. And it's done very well. I enjoyed all three characters in this, and I enjoyed seeing the political intrigue that takes place. Essentially, we start with an introduction of Elantris, which was once a wonderful and magical place but has now fallen. And we see the aftermath of this, I think it's 10 years later, and what this has done to affect the kingdoms within this world. One kingdom is essentially a merchant class, and they are running the kingdom directly near Elantris when the prince falls sick and is presumed dead, but actually he's just been taken with a curse and been locked away within the walls of Elantris. His betrothed has arrived from another kingdom, and so she becomes involved in a lot of political machinations. And a religious leader has also come along with the intention of trying to stealthily take over the kingdom so that they don't need an all-out frontal assault in order to conquer it. This is filled with religious, magical and martial information, which I think was fantastic. It has a very strong female lead who doesn't quite find her place in the world, but she does find a place here. And it's very intriguing and interesting. I really loved the character relationships, so I came to really enjoy this. There is a slight issue with pacing here. The first half of the book is incredibly story heavy and focused. You're learning a lot about the world, you're learning a lot about the culture, and so it's very slow paced. But the last part of the book, the last 150 pages, so much happens, so many twists and turns so quickly that it can be a tiny bit disingenuous or maybe unbelievable. Still, I massively enjoyed this book in the end, and it came out, I think, at a 4-star, just a lower 4-star for me. So once I'd finished that, I then went on to a much smaller fantasy book, and that was Traitors Played by Sebastien de Castell. So Sebastien de Castell writes the Spellslinger series. This is his adult fantasy series. It follows the characters of Kest, Brasti and Falkio, who are greatcoats who have been disgraced, as they essentially were justices and magisters, but essentially like really close knight protectors for their king, but the king has been killed and the ducal lords have taken back over the kingdom. So there were some issues with this, which I've created a video about, to do with the way that rape has been viewed in and used within this novel. But other than that, I actually quite liked it. I enjoyed the characters, and I enjoyed Falkio's character especially. He narrates the novel. I like the way that it's told through a series of current events and flashbacks. And I also appreciate the style of writing in there, where combat is kind of broken up with story, which may not be everyone's favourite way to read that, but I don't like long drawn out combat scenes, and so that definitely appealed to me. This is very brutal and very grotesque and quite vicious, definitely grimdark fantasy, so if you have a problem with that, it could be a struggle for you, but I think it's particularly easy to read. It's very fast paced. It's a very short book actually, and so I'm looking forward to carrying on with the series. I just hope that some of the tropes that were used in this book aren't repeated throughout. It is interesting to see how the characters all come together, and there's lots of political scheming in this as the lords try to take over, the dukes try to take over the kingdom. So there's definitely a lot to come. There's some elements of fantasy and magic in here, but they are minor compared to an actual full-on fantasy novel such as Elantris. So then I continued with Sebastien de Castell, and I continued with the Spellslinger series by reading Queen Slayer, which is the 5th book in the series. So this series follows a young boy who wants to become a Jantep mage, essentially. That is his own clan, the Jantep, and they take mage tests as they are leaving their teenage years to see who is going to be a powerful mage, or who is going to be Shatep, which is essentially someone without magic, and they become the servants of their kingdom. He doesn't have very much magic, and so he discovers that he's unlikely to become a Jantep, which is sad because his family are incredibly respected and powerful mages. He ends up leaving his clan for a variety of reasons in the first book, and if you follow along with the first book, it is fantastic. This is the 5th book in the series, so all I'm going to say is in this book we see another culture and another world, which I really massively enjoyed. I think it's another good addition to this series, though not the strongest one that there has been. This one continues to develop the characters and their relationships, but it massively shows how Kellen has grown up since the original novel, when he is essentially a bit of a spoiled brat and now has become, well, the beginnings of a much more mature and sensible young man. It was really fun to follow along with, and I absolutely adored it. And that follows on with the secret book that I've been telling no one about because of the Make a Mistake a Readathon, but which was Crownbreaker, which is the 6th and final book in the Spellslinger series. So there will be no spoilers, there'll be nothing to break. All I will say about this is that I basically spent the last 50 to 100 pages in tears for both good and bad reasons. It was a fantastic end, and I really loved it and really enjoyed it. This one deals heavily with the end result of a lot of political machinations throughout the entire series, and looks at religion and different cultures, and I think it tied this together extremely well. We see the end result of a lot of relationships that have been developed throughout the series, and just in general, I came to love it. I think it was a brilliant end, and I really enjoyed it, so it was a 5-star read for me. After that, I then went on to struggle. I think I'd read a lot of fantasy all back to back, and it kind of burnt me out a little bit. I tried to pick up the book that my sister picked for me, and that was Something Wicked This Way Comes by Bradbury. Something Wicked This Way Comes is a classic. I think it's the 2nd book in something like the Green Man series or something that Bradbury did. I like Fahrenheit 451 and some Bradbury short stories, and my little sister really likes Bradbury short stories, which she did on her degree, which is why she picked Something Wicked This Way Come. It should be full of dark atmosphere. It's about a dark carnival, these 2 young boys who become embroiled in this mysterious, enigmatic, spooky carnival that changes their life. There's definitely the idea of good versus evil, black versus white in this, where one of the boys is seen as everything dark and he is very mischievous. The other boy is everything light and proper, and he gets brought along, but in general is also in a way where he's quite naive in that. But I found the poetic style to be incredibly difficult to read. I could get the vague overview, but I was lost within the words. I couldn't quite understand what Bradbury was saying, and it was breaking the atmosphere for me. It could just be that this isn't the right time for me to give it a go, but I got 25% into this and decided to DNF it because it just was not holding my attention. So I wanted to pick up something with atmosphere and something that I knew I would really like and love. So after that, I chose to read A Sprinkle of Sorcery by Michelle Harrison. So Sprinkle of Sorcery is the 2nd book to A Pinch of Magic. I'm hoping there will be more in this series. A Pinch of Magic follows the Widdersham sisters, who are 3 sisters within Crowstone, which is a place that they've that is located very close to the prison, and the idea is it's an oppressive small community, mostly of criminals or family of criminals, and there's kind of no escape. A Pinch of Magic really focused on these three sisters, their need for adventure and curiosity, their will to escape, and how they dealt with the hardships in the first novel of feeling restricted within this place. And it's obviously a magical middle grade novel which features this small element of magic which is used really well. A Sprinkle of Sorcery is the second one to this, and this one is more of a piratey adventure. We still follow the same three sisters as they go on their second adventure here, and we are still in the same magical atmospheric land of Crowstone and discovering these different places around it. What's fantastic about these novels is that Michelle Harrison has created an entire mythology to go along with them, a set of stories and legends, and they are help informs the rest of the stories, and that's something that I really loved and really came to enjoy. A Sprinkle of Sorcery was just as fun as the first novel, and it's a struggle to figure out which ones I prefer, but the cast of characters was wonderful and the supporting characters were great once again here. The story within a story is fabulous, and there will be a video going up on Friday, a book report which talks about these in a bit more detail if you're interested. And so that brings me up to the book that I'm currently reading now. So I'm filming this on the last day of June, so obviously this is not going to be finished in June, but I'm currently reading The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. In all honesty, this is not the book I thought it was. I don't know what book I thought that I was picking up when I bought this, but I was expecting there to only be one or two characters at most here, and actually it's an entire cast of characters. You're learning about a whole crew. So essentially, you are following the crew of the Wayfarers as they are going out on a job to punch a hole within space to connect to parts of space so that you essentially can travel through it using wormholes more fast. They're tunnelers, they're miners. Now, the main character, I wouldn't say she's the only protagonist because the way the cast of characters works in here, but Rosemary has joined the crew. She clearly has a secret. There's something about her past that she is not revealing, and she has joined the crew as a new member as their apologies. She's joined the crew as their clerk. They are about to get a big job, but this big job is involved in going in space that is potentially quite war-torn, so it's quite dangerous for them. I'm just getting up to the bit where they've essentially got this job and we're looking at something worrying. This introduces you to a multi-species, multicast novel. It's filled with different cultures and you kind of have to try and get your head around that. So I'm struggling a little bit to get my head around the idea of all the different spaces, the different species, the different cultures, the different languages, and keep it all functioning. But it's okay. I was going to DNF this, but I have now got further through and decided not to, and that's because I feel like it would be really unfair. I feel like my own struggles with science fiction actually don't reflect well on this novel, because I don't think this novel is badly written, and I think there is a lot of world building in there, and I do think the writer's doing a good job of introducing the cultures, the religions, and the history of the world that they've created. I just think that I'm struggling with it because sci-fi isn't what I usually read, and I want to persevere because I believe that if the pacing and plot in this is good, that actually this would be a great novel and a really, really good sci-fi for me to get through and understand. And it did win the Arthur C. Clarke Award, so you know, good advertisement for it. Okay, so these are the books that I have read or I'm finishing. Oh no. Yeah, I'm not editing that out. So these are the books I've read or are finishing in the month of June. I will be carrying on with The Long Way to the Small Angry Planet into July. But you know, I'm pretty happy with myself considering I thought that it was a very slow reading month and I've really been struggling, and I've played a couple of computer games and things like that this month. So yeah, I definitely haven't done bad. I'm going on summer holidays now in a couple of days. I literally start, so that is going to be the whole month of July to be able to do nothing but reading, and I have huge plans, so I'm really looking forward to that. If you have any comments on any of these books and you want to chat about them, I mean, I would absolutely love it, so please leave a comment below. If you like this video, hit like, and if you want to see more like this, especially the book reports that I do looking at some of these books in more detail, then please subscribe to my channel. Have a great reading week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.